has a story to claim. Sit back, listen to conversation between Terry Lynn and new authors on the rise, and let the journey begin.
Hello, friends. Welcome to my podcast, Conversations Between Terry Lynn and New Authors. On this episode, I'm talking with my friend who is a children's book author, Nancy Pushkar. She wrote another cute book. This book is about a shy girl and how she overcomes her shyness in her grandma's antique store. Welcome, Nancy.
Hi, Terry. And congratulations to you on your awesome book signing. I have to put that out there in the universe still.
Thank you, Nancy. If you could describe your book, Tap, 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 Pitty, Tap, in one sentence, what would it be?
Curiosity inspires growth. I firmly believe it.
I have read Tap, Tap, Tappity Tap, and that describes it to a T.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
What inspired you to write a story centered around a shy child like Connie?
Well, I'm a people watcher, and I've probably observed people my whole life, and I've become aware of varying degrees of shyness that from observing people. And some people are just genuinely shy by nature. Some people, things happen in their lives and then they become a little more shy or tentative. And I understand wanting to help kids who are shy kind of come out of their shell. But I also think that people impose themselves on kids by trying to do that when the child isn't ready. Like, hey, come on, buddy. Come on, you're my buddy. Or let's go do this. Come on, let's join all the other kids. We're all having fun. And it's too much. And so, really, sadly, I think it makes that child more anxious. Then they tend to pull away more and then they start hiding even more from people.
I enjoy people watching too. It's a lot of fun.
We do that because we're authors and writers.
Yep. Did writing this book change the way you view shy children?
Actually, shy children changed the way I wrote the book. It made me think about the character differently, which I really appreciate.
That's so interesting. It really shows how much you care about making children who are shy feel seen and understood.
I think it's important.
Why do you think shy children are often misunderstood?
Well, often the signs of shyness aren't recognized. A shy child or a person may be mistaken for just not wanting to participate or being rude or even unfriendly. And sometimes I've even felt that as an adult, although people do say that, I'm a very gregarious sort of person. I'm sometimes more content to sit in the background and not be in the middle of everything. And that throws people off. I mean, I'm not angry. I'm not upset. I just need to have, my space. And just kind of simply want to be in a quieter place. And it's hard for people to get that. And it kind of makes everyone around someone who's shy uncomfortable. And for children who are timid, they just become more overwhelmed and distant. I mean, I've seen little kids hiding behind their parents. That's how it just is too much for them.
That's such an important point. Quiet children are often misunderstood when really they may just feel overwhelmed or more comfortable in calm spaces.
Exactly. And chaotic spaces especially.
What advice would you give parents of children struggling with shyness?
Let's see. Well, just right out of the gate, I would remind them that being shy is okay. It's just part of who their child is or that person is, and pushing them into activities or groups when they're really not comfortable, it's just overwhelming and it's not giving their child a chance to find their own place. And, learning who your child is and who your child is comfortable being around, that is really helpful. And it's kind of a guide to them being less shy if they're with people that they feel better around. And just let your child be who they are. It's also important to talk to your child and find out and explore the reasons that might be behind their shyness. Are they quiet at home, but they participate in school based on what their teacher has said? Do they have older siblings that may be overbearing or overprotective at home? And there may be in their classroom more leaders, and it's just that your child can't find their voice within those leaders, so they kind of step back and they're a little bit more shy or tentative to speak up. And I can't stress enough about the importance of taking, technology free time to sit together and just talk and, get to the get to the heart of matters sometimes.
That advice is spot on. What message do you hope quiet children take away from this book?
I would like kids who are shy to realize that it is a-okay to be who you are, and also to know that quiet and loud voices are equally as strong. So that means it doesn't matter if you're super out there with your voice or you're quiet and you say something once in a while, your voice is just as strong as anybody else's.
That is a wonderful takeaway. As a woman who grew up nonverbal, I wish I had heard as a child that quiet and loud voices are equally strong. Thank you for sharing that. How did you come up with the idea of having the story in an antique store?
Well, when you go to an antique store, it is filled with items that have a history, and each item brings with them a story to be told. And, that is what Connie ultimately ends up doing, really. She finds her voice by telling stories, which is really, really beautiful. And then a quick side note, I wanted to put this in an antique store for that reason, and I happened to binge a couple episodes of Gilmore Girls, and it was Lane and Miss Kim in the antique store, and I'm like, okay, that seals it for me. It was meant to be in an antique store. I binged this. It was my little poke in the back of my head that, yep, use the antique store.
I love that show, Gilmore Girls. I appreciate you got the idea of using an antique store from that TV show. What was your favorite treasure in the store?
Well, the typewriter, because it was life-changing for Connie. I love that Connie used the written word to find her voice. She's a shy person. That's who she is. And the time that she and Grandma spent together gave Grandma the opportunity to understand Connie more. Then she gives Connie the seeds so Connie can, plant them, and then she grows and she finds her voice, and it's ultimately the typewriter.
Typewriters are very special to me. I used to communicate to the teachers by using one when I was in elementary school. I loved that.
Yeah, I get it, and I see how you connect very, very well with Connie and finding her voice that way. I never even thought about that. That's great.
How does the store help Connie feel safe and understood?
I love this question because, Grandma and Connie's cat, Atwood, they are ultimately her best friends. And the antique store becomes this perfect place for Connie to explore all the books and all the trinkets that are for sale there, and in a safe place. And especially, she loves the treasures of the box that she finds in the boxes that get delivered. So it's become this safe, perfect hideaway for her.
The antique store sounds like the perfect cozy hideaway for Connie, especially since her best friends are there. If Connie could give advice to another shy child, what do you think she would say?
Connie would say in a very soft voice, enjoy being you.
I second that advice. What makes Connie and her grandma's relationship so special?
First, the tangible things, they share the treasures that are in the antique store, but mostly they have, a love for each other and a respect for each other, and they learn from each other who each of them are. And that's important. That's really important.
How does the antique store bring Connie and Grandma closer together?
Connie, Grandma, and Atwood too spend quality time together in a place that they all love being. And when you're with people that you enjoy being with, in a place that you enjoy being with, sharing things that you enjoy sharing, it's like they're home away from home, and it's wonderful for them.
I love how the antique store feels warm and comforting, almost like a character itself. I could have felt the love and connection Connie, Grandma, and Atwood share there when I read Tap, 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 Pitty, Tap.
Yes, that's so true. Exactly.
Why do you think grandparents often create such comforting spaces for children?
I see The grandchildren are like the bonus in a grandparent's life. And, if like from what I've observed and what I've heard grandparents telling me and stuff, they're pretty much on a different plane than being a parent. They get to their moments that they spend together with their grandchild are very different than what their relationship is parent and child. And they have those times that can be more kickback and laid back and more like let's have ice cream for breakfast moments. And those types of things create a special bond between a child and their grandparent.
Yeah, grandparents are fun to spend time with. How does Grandma help Connie see her quiet nature as a strength instead of a weakness?
Grandma understands Connie's shyness, and she has a gentle way of encouraging Connie by showing her how to use the typewriter. And then when the time comes, Grandma guides Connie again by gently pushing her and encouraging her to use the typewriter. And she must know inside that, Connie has these things that she can do, but Connie just needs a little help finding it.
I love how Grandma encourages Connie with patience and kindness instead of pressure. That kind of understanding can mean so much to a shy child. What would Grandma say is Connie's greatest gift?
Connie's shyness. By being shy, Connie observes and appreciates her world. And without knowing it, Connie's shyness has introduced her to the love of writing.
I love that Connie's shyness has introduced her to the love of writing. If Connie could describe her grandma in one sentence, what do you think she would say?
Once again, in Connie's soft voice, she would say, "My grandma loves and understands me, and Atwood too."
That's so sweet. What part of the writing process do you enjoy the most?
I really love creating and learning about the characters and, really finding that one thing about each character that inspires me to write the story even more and finish it and get it published and get it out there.
Yeah, the best characters always leave us with something meaningful to admire or learn from. What can we expect from you next?
Well, I'm happy to say I have a few projects in the works. Fashionista is a fun and funny story about the trials and tribulations of one incredibly fashionable second grader. This is going to be illustrated by Nadezhda from who illustrated Ralphie Moss's Garden and Tap Tap Tappity Tap, my first and second book, with Get Your Book illustrations. And I also have two projects I'm illustrating myself. That's a big venture right there in itself. Colonel and P, it's a board book series for toddlers. And the second project is a picture book series featuring my cats, Dr. Tilly Ween and Professor Winks. And I'm finally making my mark on getting those illustrations started. So I'm looking forward to that this year.
I truly can't wait to see your upcoming books. And where can people find you online and follow your journey?
You can find me at nancypushcarbooks.com, and that's my website. You can go there. I'm on Facebook, Nancy Pushkar, and Instagram at ncards. And you can also find me at Crazy Cat Lady Productions on Instagram as well. That's a totally different thing, but mostly I do my book stuff on ncards on Instagram and Facebook.
Thank you, Nancy, for your information. I will put your website and social media handles in this episode's notes below. Is it anything else you want people to know about you?
Well, I do want to say thank you, Terry, for asking me on your podcast again. This is fantastic. I love it. And, just have the greatest respect for you as a fellow author.
Thank you, Nancy.
And I do have my podcast that I'm working on launching in 2026 called First Book. And you can look for announcements on social media and on my website as well for First Book. So that's it right there.
You are welcome, Nancy. Hey, my listeners, tune in next week when I give you all an update on everything in my world. Until then, happy reading with your kiddos.